One of the first things that we want to talk about when you're weighing anchor and you're casting and you're checking your line is really getting a grip and getting an understanding of the organization that you're joining and grabbing on to and getting an understanding of that new organization's culture and structure is one of the really important things that you need to do as you're onboarding. Some companies are really good about setting up a tour for you, but I'm really curious about what the folks on this call do. And Monique, you might, if you're still with us, I'd be really interested in your approach as you're thinking about your new role to the steps that you're taking to map out the organization structure and the key players that you have that you need to be connecting with in your new organization. So I'd love to see some hands up, and let's talk a little bit about how you onboard yourself into a new organization and get familiar with it.
What I'm doing now is I'm meeting the team. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm starting with since we all report to the director or vice president of operations, I'm meeting with his entire staff first. So I've got a series of one-on-ones set up to meet with them and just say hello. Most of us are remote, so there's that piece as well. So just first of all, just wanted to get to know them. I'm just asking questions like, what are they looking for in their product team? What are the challenges you're seeing with the product team? So I'm just listening for that as well and just taking notes. So really just introducing myself, not, as Hallie said, not coming off as an expert, not coming off as I'm going to come in and shift the whole culture of the organization, but I'm also I'm listening for roles and what they do and the challenges that they have. So that's my initial approach, as well as I'm working on my 30, 60, 90-day plan as well.
I love that, Monique, and I'll jump in there and say I'm so glad you said it that way about asking people the questions, what they expect from their product team. When you talk about finding out who your stakeholders are and doing those interviews, I think one of the big things that I think is super insightful is to find out what other people think your job is, especially if you're coming in as a product leader, but in any product role. It doesn't matter the level, product owner, product manager, product marketing manager, whatever. What does all of your stakeholders, what does the organization think your role is? Because it's really interesting to hear. And you can only deliver success if you know what their expectations are. And sometimes those expectations need to be reframed, but it's better to know that and start on that early than to wait for someone to basically tell your leadership that they don't think you're effective in your new role, only to find out that's because they thought you were doing everything, including janitorial, and you were unaware of this. It's always important. Product managers are said to be the CEO of the product, and sometimes that really does include just about everything they think happens in the building. So it's really good to get that sense early. I also like that you mentioned the difference with remote, because obviously that changes things. And so I was starting to put this in the chat, by breaking it down into how do we get the lay of the land? And then there's what are the things we do to do that? And Jason was saying to assess the organization, understand the culture, and then we should have a separate almost conversation about how is that different in person versus remote? Because depending on your organization, you might have the ability to be remote some days, or you're almost fully remote, in which case you just have a totally different way that you have to go about having any of these conversations. You can't just hope that you can wander over into the space where all the marketing people hang out and have those conversations, or run into people in the bathroom. Wonderfully stalkerish as that is. But sometimes effective, because where can they go?
Exactly.
Wes has his hand up.
Yeah, I think one other thing to consider, and going on this line of questioning, is also asking like why certain decisions were made. I think that'll give you insight into how decision making works across the organization. So, we decided to do X or build this or do something. Why was that? Or what was the input into that decision? You may find that it's a HIPPO decision-making process, or it's actually data informed. And that, I think that can be very insightful for how you can shape the decisions.
Brilliant point.